Man, listen, I think I done made it. I think I done made it, man. Y'all won't believe who I have on here. This is the first person that's been on a podcast that I think could actually become president at some point in the future. Mayor, governor, president. You know, when he do become president, I want him to invite me and my wife to the inauguration. We gonna be on TV with our earmuffs, freezing. Lips can't look chaps. We're going to have our chapstick, going to make sure we look presentable. And I just want him to just look at us and give us a shout out. Of course, I won't say that, hey, we the reason why you made it, right? But I still want you to give us a shout out. You was going to make it anyway, whether you was on Conversations with TinBridge or not, because this brother is blazing the scene. But I still want him to look at us and say, hey, Dave, man, this is for you. Bridget, Dave, you know. Anyway, what's up, Andre?
What's going on, man? You good?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. No complaints at all.
I saw on IG, on social media, you have two sons, right?
I have a son and a daughter.
Shoot, son and a daughter. Okay. The son plays multiple sports.
Yes.
Okay, so one sport, football, score was 46-0.
Yes.
They 6-1.
Yeah.
And he I ain't really good at football with the positions or nothing, but I know he was tackling people.
Man, listen, my son is, they say God gave his only begotten son. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. My son is such a blessing because he's very coachable. Mm-hmm. He's a young man that I tell him all the time, listen, things are not just going to happen to you because your name is Andre. Because, you think mom and dad got it good, you got it good. It don't work like that. You got to hunt, meaning everything that you eat, that means you killed it yourself. That's how you got to do it. You're not going to be a good football player because I played in college.
Yeah.
It don't go like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go get it. And he's doing a phenomenal job, man. His first love is soccer, believe it or not.
I saw that clip too, so man. I was confused. That's why I said two sons. I'm like, yo, he played two sports?
No, his first love is soccer, man. He, all I know growing up in the city is football, basketball, the major sports. But my son said, you know what, Dad, every time we go to, camp, we play soccer, and I'm like the best one. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm still forcing them in basketball, forcing them in football. And he's constantly telling me for years, Dad, can I please play soccer? I want to play soccer. I said, okay, cool. Put him in a soccer program. And I wasn't really feeling it because it was like it wasn't serious. If LeBron James put his son in basketball, he's not putting him in a little basketball program. He's putting him in basketball.
Right.
So I found out about another team that he can be a part of that's a traveling team. And put him there where skills, he's learning all skills, agility, how to dribble, everything. I don't know the lingo with soccer, but he's learning soccer. And he's a beast, man. Yeah. He's a beast. I mean, he's had a couple of games with I think they call it hat tricks if he scored 3 goals in a game.
You know more than me.
Yeah. So he's very good with soccer, and that I use that as conditioning to supplement the other sports that he do. My thing with sports is, man, sports is the physical, that is life physically playing out. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think of how my trajectory in life, if it was not for sport, I don't think I'd be where I am right now.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. So now I want to ask you this: are you like a dad coach, or are you someone who says, "No, I'm gonna let the coach do their job," and how do you do that?
Man, I sit back and allow cream to rise to the top. I said, hey, if my son's the best, the coach is going to play the best.
Yeah.
I can't get up there and say, hey, my son does this and does that, and then be mad if my son isn't playing. That's not authentic. Mm-hmm. Authenticity is put them all out there and let the best one rise to the occasion. That's what it is. And the separation comes in the preparation.
You better get out. You better get out of here with these friends. I like that, man. Separation. Say that again.
The separation comes from the preparation, meaning you separate yourself from the pack by how you prepare. So one thing I saw with my son, basketball, soccer, now it's football season, and he's starting, as first team offense on football. He plays special team. The last game we won 46-zip. He started on offense, started on special team, and played outside linebacker on defense. And he made a play at every team.
Wow.
And I'm not saying he's the best of the best right now. I mean, he's 10. But I see that he's coachable, he's understanding, and that he's listening. And he's listening to the coach. I say, man, the coach has really taught you how to block very, very well because you're attacking it. That's what I mean when I say go and get it. Don't sit around and wait. They're not going to get in the end zone because because y'all run into the end zone.
Yeah, you
got to
do
get
something.
to the end zone.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So what ways do you prepare him at home? Are you saying like, hey, you got to make sure you practice even outside of practice in order to separate yourself from the people on your team? Do you play a role in that?
So the conversation that my son and I have is that, hey, listen, you're a student first and you're an athlete second. The same grind that you put in that classroom is the exact same grind you must put on the field or on the court.
And it'll carry over.
And if they're the same. If sport is the physical playing out of life, you can't, ball out on the court or on the field and sleep in the classroom.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
get you.
the expectation is that I don't care in practice when y'all are running and conditioning, come in first. Come in first. Because if you're coming in first in practice, you're going to come in first in the game.
Yeah.
Come in first.
Yeah.
So I'm the father that's saying, why are you not in first?
Oh, what movie was that? Talladega Nights, I think, with Will Ferrell, where his dad told him, if you ain't first, if you're not first, you last. Now it's kind of obviously it's a exaggeration, but there's some truth in there.
Well,
right?
We're all human.
Yeah.
And one thing that I learned, and I shared this before, someone told me that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So you can be talented and lazy. And some person cannot have the same amount of talent that you have and grind and make it before you make it because you didn't put the work in. LeBron James is the perfect example, in my opinion, of talent and hard work. When you're talented and work hard, best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell by what he put into his body, $1 million, I think, every year.
It's an investment.
Into his body. Absolutely. Yeah. And the way he eats. I think he was at his son's basketball game and I saw him just on the sideline eating an apple or something like that.
Yeah.
And it shows, right? Because he don't get injured that much. So I got another question for you. Southfield Freeway and 6 Mile, right? I need you to take me all the way back. I want you to describe to me what it was like, in the first or second, even third house you grew up in, the neighborhood, the household. Walk me through that.
Yes, sir, man. I grew up in the city of Detroit, 6 Mile, 6 Mile Southfield Freeway, really close to Puritan. That's where I grew up. And that was my introduction into life, really, to be honest with you. Born and raised in the city of Detroit and learned how to be a young man through the streets of Detroit, all the way going through high school. When someone asked me, how was it, I never forget my experience going into high school. So let me just say this, starting in elementary school, straight A student. Naturally, I'm in the arts. So we got that in common. I can draw very well. I made straight A's. My parents used to say, Andre, you smart. You smart. They used to say that. And I'll never forget, in third grade, I made straight A's. And that's when the game Mortal Kombat came out. My parents didn't know. They didn't know what it was. I said, man, I want Mortal Kombat. They bought me the game.
Was it Genesis or Super Nintendo? Which one?
We had it on Sega Genesis.
Okay, so the blood and all that.
Yeah, man. It was the blood. And I was in there playing it. They seen all that blood. They took it away from me.
Yeah.
But I made straight A's through elementary school. But going through middle school and my introduction to high school was not Cass Tech. My introduction to high school was a charter school, which is now closed. But long story short, man, I'll never forget my sister. She was a basketball player. And she came out after playing basketball. The crowd dispersed. It was late at night. And I was standing, bouncing on the stop sign. And pew, pew, someone was shooting into the crowd of people, hit the stop sign twice where I was standing right top of my head. And we only knew that it was gunshots because the gentleman that walked right in front of me said, God dang, they shot me. Fell down right there. Got shot
and you saw
it. We were looking like, oh my God. We all ran to the end of the block in Burger King. And our parents picked us up. I'll never forget going home and my brothers and I were looking at my mom because she was flipping out. We were like, dang, Mom, like, chill, like we good. But she was like, you almost got killed. And I remember we were scared to do a police report and everything because of the culture of telling.
The snitching thing.
We didn't want to do all that. And I had to go to school the next day.
Yep.
So that was my introduction to high school. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know what life is supposed to be for real because I'm traumatized. I almost got killed flat out. See a man get shot flat out. And I'm just trying to figure out. But one thing that I learned is that I do believe that everyone's life is written because I was listening to Dr. Eric Thomas. I read his book, UOU, and he talked, I believe it was in chapter 6, he talked about being in miracle territory. And I never forget, in summer of 1999, after my 9th grade year, where I got shot, we randomly went to Disney World on vacation. And you know where, I don't know if some of y'all know about this, but you get free tickets if you go on those timeshare tours. So
we did that in Las Vegas a couple of times
so
before we had kids. So
yes, indeed. So we was in line on those timeshare tours, and while standing in line, we from Detroit. Going to Orlando, standing in line doing a timeshare tour, and my mother, who graduated from Henry Ford, saw her high school classmate standing in line too.
Whoa.
Who happened to be the offensive line coach at Cass Tech High School.
That's how you?
Miracle territory.
Wow.
That's how I got to Cass Tech.
Wow.
At the end so I really got there in the middle of 10th grade year.
Wow.
That's how it happened. So that's why I say I do think, at least my life has been written some type of way, because if that had not happened, I wouldn't have graduated from Cass Technical High School. I would not have gotten a football scholarship to Howard University and ultimately earning a doctorate degree.
Wow.
Miracle territory.
So let me ask you this, because how did you manage to be who you were in that environment? Because obviously you were surrounded by some influence that could have took you down the wrong path. How did you manage to stay who you were? Like, who were your influences?
That's a great question, man. I think my influence, I would say my mother and father. My father worked hard. As a matter of fact, he's about to clock in 50 years at Ford Motor Company.
What?
Yeah.
Man, shout
He's
out
been
to
there
Pops,
since
man.
18 years old, man. So,
wow.
Yeah, we blue collar here in Michigan. But seeing my father work extremely hard, we didn't see him often because a lot of times he's working 16-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And same with my mom, working hard. But we did go to church a lot. I definitely grew up in the church. And as a little kid, learning about, God, etc., those principles, I really took it to heart. Even to this day, I take a lot of things literally, so I took a lot of those principles that I learned very literally. Simple things like 10 Commandments. Okay, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not. You know what I'm saying? Don't steal, don't kill, But also those principles, just growing up, knowing what's right and literally knowing what's wrong. So the basics of right and wrong and making the best decisions possible with the information that you have. That's how I got this far in my life.
Wow. So the 2-parent household definitely played a big role.
It did for me, man. It did, because it gave me stability. I definitely had a stable home. I mean, I was born and raised in Detroit and stayed in the same house up until I graduated college.
Okay. So you didn't really play football prior to coming to Cass Tech.
The first game I ever played, I was a junior at Cass.
You got to be kidding me.
Nah.
So you when you said Disneyland, wherever you at, the coach sees you and he's just looking at this, because you was the same height you were. Yeah. So he's looking at you and his eyes get wide.
He like, you 6'4", 300 pounds, you 14?
Yeah,
15?
Yeah.
Man,
we gotta put you on the line.
Yeah, you can't. I can teach everything but size.
Yeah,
can't teach size. So I always passed the look test. I remember when universities used to come and recruit for football. Every college, I don't care, Big Ten all the way to Division II, would say, "Man, you passed the look test." So I always had that advantage of being 6'5", 300 pounds. That just
but listen, you could be 6'5" and however many pounds all you want. How many pounds you say you was at the time?
I was 304, 6'5",
304. Good Lord! So you get to Cass Tech. You got to tell me what the challenge was of you jumping straight into a physical sport like football cold.
I'll tell you, the challenge is technique, because physically. I mean, I we did a little bit of karate growing up. We used to go to tournaments and win trophies. So I was athletic. I can always do. Right now, I can kick the ceiling. I'm very athletic. But it was really technique. I'm playing football off of strength and speed. No technique. I do believe, though, I'll be honest with you. If I played like my son is playing now, I probably would have had an NFL career. I do believe that.
If you had started that early.
Yeah, man, I honestly learned football in college because I only played one game my junior year. The first play of the first game against Mumford, we scored a touchdown, and we went to kick a field goal, and I broke my leg.
Wow.
So my whole junior year was a wash. I played like 2 downs my junior year. So really, I played only my senior year at Cass Tech. That was my first full season, my senior year at Cass.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, hey, y'all, we went to Cass Tech together, graduated
Second to none.
Yeah, yeah. We just beat King the other day too.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
city
throw that out
champ. Shout out to Cass.
So anyway, end of your senior year, right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about college? What was in your head at that point?
Not at all. So I only began to think about college when I met recruits. But you know, I was in my junior year. I remember working at Comerica Park. You remember they just opened the baseball field. But my senior year, I worked at CVS off Grand River, closer to where I grew up on Puritan. And you know, my goal, honestly, I wanted to get my commercial driver's license and drive trucks for CVS. And I was exploring that. But I had all these scouts coming in. Again, no one cared about my film. They was just looking at my size and speed. Yeah. And shout out to Coach Wilcher, who's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I remember Wilcher.
I never forget, man. I was in a classroom, and Coach came to the class and said, "Hey, we need Townsel down in the auditorium. We have a college here to look at him." And I said, "Okay." So the teacher said, "Okay, let him go out." Gave me a pass. And while walking in the hallway with Coach Wilcher, he said, "Hey, man, what I need you to do is puff your chest out, you know, stand on your tiptoes a little bit, give him a firm handshake, and just be yourself." I said, "I could do that."
Gave you the blueprint.
Oh, yeah, gave me he just wanted me to make a good impression. Can't be ignorant, you know. Yeah. So I went down there, and I'll never forget Coach Howard Gilmore said, "Big fella." And I just started laughing. And it was the best thing, man. We had a great conversation. Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, man, Coach said you was a hard worker, man. You're an intelligent kid, man. We have an opportunity at Howard University." I think they had a spot open up on the offensive line.
Yeah.
They had a scholarship open up. And he said, "Man, we love to give you that opportunity."
Full ride.
It was tuition. All of my tuition was paid my freshman year.
But it's out of state, so that's still
Howard University is $50K.
Yeah.
So yeah, they gave me a full tuition scholarship, and I had to take care of my room and board. But by my junior year at Howard University, I earned all my room and board, meals, everything. So I earned everything I got.
Yeah.
You understand?
When you talk about earned, because they paid for tuition, how did you earn the room and board?
FAFSA, man. So, you know, they paid my tuition and all of that, but I had to get financial aid.
There we go. Okay.
To take care of my room and my meals.
I got you.
But ultimately, through my practicing and playing hard and earning a starting role on the team, the coaches gave me a full scholarship after being there for a couple of years and just proving myself.
Oh shoot! So you came in on just tuition.
I came in
after
on
a couple of years. They like, no, we got to pay for his room and board too.
Yes, Coach Petty, one of the best coaches I ever had. You know, next to Coach Wilcher, Coach Rayford Petty was my college coach, and he called me into his office at Townsel. You're a full ride.
Prior to you even getting accepted to go to Howard, right? Getting offered a scholarship, you were going to probably follow down, you know, the path. Well, follow your father's footsteps, right?
Yeah,
work at the plant.
I mean, and that's by all accounts, you know, that's what we do in Michigan. You know, a lot of us, you know, you get a good job at the plant.
Oh yeah, and you can just ride that out, retire and be good.
Oh, for sure. That's how my father fed us, and to this day, you know, I still drive F-150.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
So what happens if you come with a different type of, you know what I'm saying? He probably because see, my wife's father, he retired from GM.
Yeah,
and I remember, man, they came to visit us in California. Right. We had a Lexus. Yeah, and he was like, what's this?
You know what? If it's American made, we good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, GM crack. But, you know, if you could pull up in the foreign, you know, it might get looked at funny.
Yeah, you're going to get looked at funny.
Yeah, they're going to look at you at the side of your eye a little bit.
Yeah.
But Ford, they've been putting food on my table.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Okay, so you get to Howard. You end up earning yourself a full scholarship, right? At what point did you decide that, man, you know what? I went here for football, to play football. I wasn't even thinking about college my senior year of high school. This is what I want to become. When did you realize you wanted to become, or I guess assume a profession in education?
So that's a great story too. I never forget our coach in college would always say, he'd pull us into the meeting room and he said, "Hey, you guys need to understand, you didn't just come here for football. You came here to get education." And he said, at one point, you're going to be an ex-athlete. And once you become an ex-athlete, what are you going to do? And I used to think like that, like, that's true. You know, like, what am I going to do once I'm 35, 36, 37, my biological clock has ticked? You understand? Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And, you know, we had really good advisors, college advisors, athletic advisors, who would just ensure that you're on task, not only with just being eligible, but on task to earning a percentage towards your degree. The goal was to graduate. Howard University have one of the highest graduation rates for student athletes
That's a
across
stunt
the
right
board.
there. Yeah.
They take graduation very seriously,
Yeah.
you know, and we produce a lot of professionals, you know, Super Bowl winners, Olympic gold medalists, but also education.
Man, you better talk your stuff, Andre.
Yeah, man. They say it's the #1 produced for PhDs in the entire country.
Wow.
Howard University. If you black and got a doctorate degree, Howard University is the #1 institution that produces that.
Bison for life, right?
Hey, ain't you?
Yeah. Okay.
you.
All right. So anyway, continue with the story. So you knew you wanted to assume.
So what happened was, you know, I can draw very well at Cass Tech. I was doing drafting arts, and they said, hey, you need to consider civil engineering. The problem was once I got to college, remember never really playing football like that. I had a tough time balancing my academic schedule and my athletic schedule. You practice so much, watch film.
Right, you did civil engineering in high school too.
I did.
Yep,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yep. So you would do it. You would, you know, have so much practice time, you know, and film session on the athletic side. And when you're done with that, you're tired and exhausted.
Yeah.
But that's when you're supposed to. The average student is studying. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there trying to put on the mat.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in there trying to lay down and chill a little bit. So the hardest thing for me to do, in all honesty, man, was to get my grade point average up high enough to transfer into the School of Engineering. Mm-hmm. It never, ever happened. And they recommended me coming out of Cass Tech to go into engineering. And I never forget, I'd say, okay, well, I have to find something to major in. And my college advisor said, hey, well, you're in the School of Arts and Sciences. Why don't you consider, you know, one of these degrees? And I was looking down the menu like, what can I really do? And I remember seeing physical education. I had a couple of those courses in the physical education department where they had the best instructors, man. And one thing I learned there, I said, I need to become the educator that I needed when I was in school.
Wow.
So my mind, it quickly went to serving because I thought about how Coach Wilcher and Coach Gilmore saw potential in me as a student and gave me an opportunity to change the trajectory of my life forever. And I'm like, I got to get that back to somebody. I got to be able to change somebody's trajectory for the better.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
And you know, I went into physical education, became a physical education major with a secondary education minor.
Bro, I'm glad you did pursue that because I done seen you working. I seen you know, interviews on the news and just the way you carry yourself, how personable you are. The fact that you are going from school to school and people can touch you, they can see that you're real. And I just think that you're perfect for this. So I'm glad that your trajectory changed.
Thank you.
Because again, I'm an engineer, man, and you know, it's just no disrespect, but engineers are kind of somewhat socially awkward. Sure. A lot of the ones that I've talked to, not as personable because, you know, we stay in the office and we work in solitude and we don't necessarily have as much of a chance to interact with people in the outside world. So I think you're, man, you're perfect for this, man. So again, you get your bachelor's, right, from Howard, and then you say, you know what, I think I want to get my master's.
So it was a funny story, man. So my wife, shout out to my wife, she was a student athlete at Howard as well.
Oh, that's where y'all met?
Yeah, man.
So she was, yeah.
She was a basketball player, a beast. And
how tall is she?
My wife, she was a power forward. She's about 5'10", 5'11".
Man, y'all kids about to be like 7.
I pray. So anyway, so she was a clinical laboratory research major.
Wow.
And, you know, I remember her coming out of high school. She had like a 4 point. Her and my story totally different. She had like a 4.9 academic scholarships all over the place.
Sound like me and my wife. So yeah.
Yeah, she had academic scholarships all over the place and also athletic scholarships.
So she was doing both of them.
Yeah, she was best of both worlds.
Impeccably.
So she took the athletic scholarship and played women's basketball. And she was a B. She was a team MVP and conference woman of the year in basketball. But she was pre-med.
Yeah.
You know, and
wait, so she pre-med, so she's a doctor now, right?
Oh yeah.
Wow, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she you know, we come, you know, I think we're about to chill. She's sitting there studying the MCAT. I'm like, what the heck is that? She was like, I gotta do the MCAT. I'm like, you a junior though. Like, what is the MCAT? She's like, well, there's school after school. I'm like...
You wasn't even thinking that far out. Golly.
I was clueless.
Yeah.
I'm like, so when I get my bachelor's, there's something else to get? Like, I heard the words master's. I heard the words doctorate, but that wasn't in my vocabulary. That was just so unattainable.
Yeah.
So long story short, she told me about graduate schools. And I said, well, what do they have for, like, educators? And it made me start looking at the profession seriously. Like... This is not just about becoming a gym teacher. You know what I'm saying? You want to change lives, but on the highest scale possible for kids.
Yeah.
So I start looking and say, oh, so that's what an assistant principal does. This is what a principal does. It taught me every level. And I'm like, okay, so I get it now. So I went to graduate school at Howard University and got my master's in education administration and policy, and ultimately got my doctorate in education.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. So, and this, fellas, this is just something to keep in mind. It's so important to have the right person by your side who's going to bring out the best in you. So shout out to the wife for doing that.
Yeah. She put me on.
Yeah.
She put me on in the education world because, again, I had it naturally as a kid. I was a straight A student in elementary.
Yeah.
But then going through life, being a black man in America as a teenager coming up, we were born in the 80s, so you know what was going on there. And the 90s,
we don't have to speak on that, but y'all know what's going on.
But you know what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the early 2000s, that's our era.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking, terminal degree. I'm not thinking beyond, I got a bachelor's. I made it.
Yeah.
I thought I made it with that, and I did. And not saying that I didn't, but I didn't know there was more, and I didn't realize how much I was capable of doing. So someone asked me, I heard, how tall does a tree grow approximately? I'm asking you, how tall does a tree grow approximately?
You asking me?
I'm asking you.
We gonna go with like 18 feet.
See, why you put limits on it? A tree grows.
Okay, okay. Go ahead.
A tree grows as high as it could possibly grow. Produces as many leaves as it could possibly produce.
Yeah.
It produces as many fruit as it could possibly produce.
Wow.
The roots go into the ground as far as it could possibly go. So that's me. Why would I limit myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
How great can I be approximately?
Wow.
You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying.
It's really maximizing your potential. We put limitations on ourselves.
Yeah.
There is no limitation. If you put a watermelon in a glass or in a jar and allow it to do what it does, when you break that glass, it's going to be the shape of the glass. A watermelon is a big fruit, but if you put it in a glass, it's limited. It's still going to grow.
Yeah.
It's still a watermelon, but it's limited.
Yeah.
Take off the limitations.
Well, the other thing, too, that I got from it is that it's more important to dream big, or I guess have big goals, right?
Yes.
And it's better for you to try to achieve those goals and fail than to not have any goals to achieve at all.
Yes, we've all heard
and she kind of gave you I'm talking about your wife at that time, you're like laser focused, and you knew exactly that, like, hey, I gotta shoot for something. I just can't be wandering the world aimlessly, not knowing what I'm going to do next or where I want to end up. So
she was the model. She was the model. You say lead by example. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, while I was, she med school, residency, fellowship, and now top level wherever she's at. And, she gave me the blueprint.
She gave you the blueprint, man. So here's the thing, right? Because I know you were a principal intern at one point, then a teacher, went back to being a principal intern, dean of students, vice principal, and you did all of this while getting your master's degree.
Every level. Every level.
So you got to explain to me how you were able to juggle all of that, man.
Yeah, man. I was building the plane and flying it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I knew where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the top educator so I could have the greatest impact possible. But you can't get there unless you learn every step.
And you didn't overstay your welcome. Like, you was here for 2 years and here for 2. Like, some people, they get complacent.
Yeah.
And they like, oh man, I'm comfortable here.
Absolutely.
Fear causes them to want to overstay their welcome at a certain position. But you, okay, I got what I needed here. I'm going to the next.
Content mastery. Once you master, what you sticking around for?
Y'all hear that?
No limits.
God.
It's just no limits. Once I
yeah.
became the best teacher I could possibly be, okay, next step. Athletic director, best athletic, next step, dean of students, best, next step, assistant principal, next step, high school principal.
Oh, so sometimes you would work at a school and you would be doing 2 things.
Well, no. Literally, I worked at every level. I never took a lateral job.
But so I'm talking about, like, if you were at the school and you were working as, let's say, a dean of students, you were also like an athletic director, or you just did it one at a time, so to speak? One
at a time. I was a teacher and AD at the same time.
There we go. Okay,
Yes. So that was the only thing that was the same time. Outside of that, everything has been 2, 3, 4 year increments.
Yeah.
So, but what I was doing at the same time I was working, I was in school studying.
Wow.
So while I'm, working as a dean of students, I'm also working on a master's degree.
Yeah.
While I'm an assistant principal, as a matter of fact, my first year as an assistant principal, at the end of that year, that's when I earned my doctorate degree. And then while in my second year as an assistant principal, I earned my certification to be a superintendent.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Harvard? Didn't you go to Harvard? You went to Harvard? I don't know. It was a turnaround school.
Yes.
Okay,
It was turnaround school leaders. It was a certification program that I completed in 2017 at Harvard University.
This is crazy. President, y'all. President.
It's just no limits, man. You have to be the one I learned. Listen, education is power.
Yeah.
You set the bar, meet the bar, exceed the bar, then
raise the bar. Yeah.
You know what it is. That's what it is.
I like that.
So every level, everything that I do, that's the bar being set.
Yeah.
And then once I meet it, then I exceed it, then I raise it. You got to move on.
I got that from you. I was like, man, Andre got to put that on a shirt. Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. Every time I wear it at the airport, everybody like, where can I get that from?
Oh, you got shirts like
man,
that?
I got like 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 of them. I always wash and wear when I'm, it's motivation for me. But I learned that a lot of people get motivation. I should have wore it on the podcast.
Man, we need to get together because we need to get a shirt like that with them same stones on it like that, man. We be fly, man. Yeah. I like that. I like it, man.
But that's the goal, man. The goal is be the best version of yourself as you can possibly be. Like, what are we sticking around for? Let me tell you something. I was reading something most recently. Is the top 5 regrets that people have when they're about to die.
Ooh.
So someone literally did research on individuals on their deathbed.
Collected data from all these different...
What are your top 5 regrets? A lot of it is, I would have not taken some things so seriously. I would have not spent so much time at the same job. I would have traveled more. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want to be on my deathbed with regrets. People ask all the time, why would you do that? How'd you do that?
Yeah.
It's my life to live.
You want to leave it all here.
Leave it all. Do it all, man. So you can, raise the bar. That's really what it's about.
Absolutely. So, golly, man. Okay. So, you become a principal, Southbridge.
Yes.
Right? Massachusetts.
Yes.
First black principal at that high school.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question because I think it's like a gift and a curse being the first of something, right? I think the gift is that you show people what's possible.
Yes.
Right? You open up a door, but the curse is that people, they focus on that alone. Like that becomes the spectacle. I remember when Sha'Carri Richardson, she broke a record. And I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, yeah, I just like the fact that she looked like me. And, she got, nails like me and hair like me and all of that. And I'm like, wait, people are correlating her success to their own success. And they're missing the real thing here. Like, how many hours did she spend on that track? Right? Like, how many times did she fight through injuries? All of those things. They don't focus on that. They just focus on the first thing, I guess. So, and no knock to them because it's easy to do that. You look at these people and you admire them, right? Because they look like you.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask you is what were the challenges of being the first?
Challenges of being the first. It really comes with low expectations, or when people think you only got it because you're
tokenism or something like that.
Yeah. My thing is look under the hood. If I tell you that I got the fastest car out here, I probably got 500 horse under the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to look under the hood. If you look under my hood, you see 3 degrees, 3 certifications. You see what you see. So it's the goal is to just be you and do what you do. I never let it hold me down because I'm the first black. It's honorable. I love it. It's a privilege and it's a pleasure. But then let's get to work. You get what I'm saying?
Because you want people to remember you for the work primarily.
Don't remember me because I'm the first. Remember me because I was great.
Yeah, and the only way that you can divert people's attention away from the first thing.
Yeah.
And make sure that they're concentrating on the work is for you to do the work.
Absolutely.
Demonstrate.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So then after that, you become an assistant superintendent.
Yes, indeed. Made my way back to the great state of Michigan, Metro Detroit, assistant superintendent.
What was it? Westland?
Westland.
Okay, got you.
That was a great opportunity. Most people don't know I was one of the first black assistant superintendents.
You was the first black there too?
Yeah, man. In that role, at that executive cabinet level.
Yeah.
And that was a great opportunity, man, to level up young people, to give great leadership to already great leaders. You know, what I really take pride in is leading leaders.
Yeah.
That's if you really want to make an impact, because you have to think about it. It starts at the top, and leadership trickles down. You have to get it to the teachers to do all the amazing things you need them to do, but you have to have solid leadership at the top and drop it down to the next level of leadership, to the next level of leadership, to the next level of leadership.
I got you.
So that is definitely, that gave me an opportunity to become a superintendent.
Yeah.
Because it was 20 schools, nearly 11,000 kids, and I'm over support
20
services.
schools?
20 schools.
I remember just the story. I was going to, I was living in the area on the east side of Detroit in a neighborhood school my mother didn't want me to go to for, obvious reasons, right? Yeah. So the school that I was at in elementary was Marquette Elementary School. And they had this thing where once you got to middle school, you go to your neighborhood school.
Yep.
Unless you had good grades, right? So for whatever reason, I didn't make the cut, right? Because they probably only had so many spots for people who were outside of the district. My mother goes and talked to the superintendent at that time. Thank God for you, Mama. She went and talked to the superintendent. I think his name was Dr. Sneed.
Okay.
Maybe David Sneed, something like that. And he, looked at my stuff, was like, no, okay, he can go there. Overrode the principal.
Wow.
Principal was feeling a way about it.
Yeah. Right? Undermined him.
but he did, and it was up to me to prove that I belonged there.
Right.
That whatever the superintendent had done for me wasn't in vain. And I ended up gaining a close relationship with that same principal.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, I remember I got to college and I was taking a class in the summer, like physics, and she actually paid for it for me because I didn't have the money. So anyway, I know the impact that a superintendent can have, but I never saw that superintendent. Right. He was never at the schools or anything like that. You became the superintendent of Benton Harbor.
Yes, indeed.
Tell me how that was like. First off, tell me how the jump was. What were some of the differences in being an assistant and now being that dude?
When you're that dude, like, your name is on everything.
You responsible.
Oh, yeah. The good, the bad, the ugly. It all starts with the top.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, the preparation that I had leading up to becoming a superintendent was second to none. One thing people must know about the Howard University School of Education, it's a top 100 education program in the country.
Oh, man, he's Howard, boy. Howard getting love, man.
Let me tell you. And then my professors in the doctoral program were former and sitting superintendents. Shout out to my mentor, the late, great Dr. Joe Hairston. He was the superintendent of Baltimore County for 12 years. Wow. Dr. Lois Harrison Jones Fears. She was the first Black female superintendent, I believe, of Boston Public Schools and Richmond Public Schools.
Wow.
Those are my teachers. You know what I'm saying?
What they say, you only as good as the 5 people. You know what? I was watching an interview. No, it was TEDx.
Yes.
And you did this like it was spoken word, and you said something about or it might have been one of your interviews, but you said something like, "Hey, if you wanna, I'll show you what your future is if you show me who the 5 people are around you." It was something like that.
Yeah, something about if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
There we go.
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And that's the reality. Like, if you want to become a millionaire, you probably should be hanging around millionaires and doing what millionaires do.
Yeah.
If you're hanging, that's just that's a philosophy. Who your net work is your net worth.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, you dropping them, man. I mean, listen, we can make so many T-shirts with all these, man. Yeah, golly. Yeah.
And, so I understood that I had to be in the room with superintendents. I had to be in the room with assistant superintendents. So
it's almost like you got to make yourself, because these people are higher up.
Yeah.
So they looking at you like, well, why should I, spend time trying to bring you up? So you're adding some sort of value or showing them something too, because, it got to be worth their time.
Yeah, man, you have to just be confident in yourself and be sure what you want to do. No one could question what I wanted to be. Everyone knew I wanted to be a superintendent from when I started my doctoral program, master's program.
So they knew you wasn't playing. Yeah.
I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can tell by the passion. One thing I teach young people now, find your passion. When you find your passion, I don't feel like I have a job. I keep it real with you. I don't feel like I work, because I'm so passionate about supporting young people. I can do it in my sleep.
Wow.
And so what prepared me for that superintendency was just being prepared and being in that training for the 7 years straight. And when I went to Benton Harbor, shout out to Benton Harbor, beautiful community,
absolutely.
I encountered that community at a tough time. In 2019, the district was proposed to be closed and shut down. Yes, it was proposed to be closed. They were going to shut down the high school and potentially dissolve the district.
And that's what you inherited.
That's what I walked into. That's what I walked into. And I became interested in that community when I saw how hard they fight to keep their school open for the kids.
Wow.
And I said, you know what, if they give them an opportunity to keep that district open, I'm going to apply for that opportunity. And a search firm did a search, and I know that the district was financially strapped. And the Michigan Department of Treasury paid for a superintendent search, $25,000. And I put my name in that search firm. And out of the 40 applicants, I became, top 8, top 4, and top 2 finalists.
A lot of interviews before you finally
got. A lot of video interviews in person. That was before COVID. So I'm just getting out work, driving from Detroit all the way to Ben Harbor, for an interview because I really wanted the opportunity to support and change the trajectory of young people's lives.
Man, you got to be a certain kind of person to not be like, some people will look at that and be like, nah, the situation they in, I don't want that. But you ran towards it.
Yeah, well, my thought was this. I'm prepared to be a superintendent. They need a superintendent. Like, they about to shut down. I'm prepared. There I go.
Wow.
There I go.
Wow.
And had the privilege to work with that amazing community, man. Had a phenomenal board of education. And by the grace of God, man, in the time that I served there, we, for the first time in 14 years, emerged from deficit. We also increased teaching salaries. So when I got there, I know teachers took a 10% pay cut and have been frozen for the last 10 years. So I restored all of that and put everyone up a salary scale and gave everyone a bonus at the end of the year to say thank you for what you're doing for our young people.
I know they hated to see you go, but you had to keep climbing. So then the next opportunity, right? Calvert, did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
County Public Schools, you became the superintendent. First black again, right? So you ain't new to the first black.
Nah, I was a vet by then. I was a veteran.
Right. So I'm sure it's a bigger footprint than Benton Harbor, right?
Oh, yeah. Benton Harbor, we had about 1,600 students, 6 schools. Right now I have 16,000 students, 25 schools. So times 10, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but look, you make education look cool, bro. Like I seen some of the these pictures of you with the power behind it and all of that. Yeah. Like just making it cool. You also had this video where you was pumping everybody up.
Yes.
Getting them hyped for the school year, for the athletics and all of this stuff.
Yes, indeed.
And not only that, unlike Dr. Sneed, and I appreciate him for what he did, I never saw him.
Right.
Like you're at every school reading the kids, doing all of this stuff. I'm just trying to figure out, how do you make it all work?
So while I was going through the process of becoming an administrator, I put something together called the 3 V's of leadership. The 3 V's. Being
all right,
visible.
y'all get ready for this. Hold on. I want you to say this now.
The 3 V's of leadership: visible, vocal, and vigilant. You're going to see me, you're going to hear me, and you're going to feel me.
That's another shirt. Come on, man. Come on.
So I learned that just working in schools. So when you're trying to get young people to comply to expectations to enhance their academic achievement, they got to see you. They have to hear what the expectation is. And you have to be pressed about it. You know what I'm saying? I heard that it takes 40 times for something to be committed to memory. So you got to stay on the message.
Yeah.
No, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Pretty soon, they're going that way.
Dang. Okay. So are they because you were 36 when you became a superintendent?
Yeah, I was 35.
35,
yeah.
Right. So, and that don't happen too often, white or black, whatever race you are, right? You 35 when you become a superintendent. How are people receiving you when you step in, when you're first week in that position? Are they shocked? Because obviously you don't look like a superintendent would look. You got your beard, your hair, all of that stuff. Cool guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so how did they respond to that?
So here's and this is the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I didn't care. I couldn't control it. I couldn't control how
all you can worry about is what you can
all
control.
I can do is be great.
Yeah.
All I can do is think about kids. All I can do is implement policy.
Yeah.
I can't worry about what you think about how I look.
Because over time, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, you let Jay-Z said men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
My numbers talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? and in all honesty, man,
Yeah.
it's really about relationships.
Yeah.
Because yes, I've had all of the whatever stereotypes come with being a young black man in education. I hear all of that, but the proof is always in the pudding. And I do believe that over time, when people see hard work and dedication, they see passion and they see authenticity. They don't see fake and phony. They see appreciation. They don't see flattery. Flattery is counterfeit. Appreciation is sincere. So I appreciate being in the role of leadership. I appreciate having the opportunity to serve, and it's going to young people. So, they receive me with open arms because they feel that.
Okay, so how has your football career translated into your professional career?
Man, so that's a great question. I would say this. In football, I had a lot of heartbreaks. Meaning, I'm young, immature student athlete in college. I want to travel to the big game. You go in the locker room after a hard practice, you see the bus list, your name not on the list. Hey, everybody going to Daytona Beach, you staying back at Howard, looking at your team travel. So I learned that you can't take anything personal. They trying to win a game.
Yeah.
If I'm not going, I'm not going to help them win the game. So that takes me back to reflect and say, hey, if I want to travel and contribute, I have to show that I can contribute.
Wow. Yeah.
I have to produce in practice.
Yeah.
I have to produce with the little bit that I have. So when I get a lot, there's no question what I'm going to do with it.
Like you said, numbers don't lie.
It doesn't lie, man. Yeah. So you have to be dedicated to whatever level that you're on, whether it's athletically, academically, socially, whatever level that you're on, you have to take that serious and master that level.
Yeah.
If you want to move on. See, the best thing that ever happened to me is that nothing was given to me. I would have been scandal. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The reality is just preparing yourself to do what's right, apply all of the principles that you've learned, and you will be fine. Because one thing I've heard is that success leaves clues. Things that were successful with regards to relationship building and being able to influence people and leaders and moving data. Some of that stuff is written in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s. So leave clues. You have to read. You have to read on best practices when it comes to becoming a leader. And that's what I've done, man. And by the grace of God, I've been able to positively support the trajectory of young people's lives.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, listen, and also, football, you go to practice every day, you work hard, you get better. So at least you knew that once you became a professional, you already knew the meaning of working hard and being consistent.
Yes.
Because of football.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
It carried over. Wow. Okay. So I got another question, right?
Yes, sir.
I was having a debate with my mom and my sister about this because they both work for different school districts.
Yes.
Right. What is the recipe to having a good school district, right? Because it's not just on the school, right? It's not just on the system, but what are some of the ingredients that you have to mix into a pot in order to come up with a good, recipe for a school system?
I'll be honest with you, man. I say it's respect, responsibility, and perseverance. Like, you have to respect everyone's role. Like, you can't, one thing, when I was a high school principal, my best friend was the janitor. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was a superintendent, my best friend was the lunch people. I need everyone fed. I need everyone healthy. So the goal is to have respect for every role and then responsibility. Everyone's accountable to something.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're over math, you're over English, you're over related arts, you're over science. Where's the numbers on academic achievement? Can we get better? And even 1% better is better. Just don't go back.
Yeah.
So having those true conversations about accountability and perseverance, man, especially as we're emerging from a pandemic, the hardest thing to do right now is become an educator. That's the hardest thing to do.
Absolutely.
It's tough, man. Right now, going into the fall.
Education took a hit because of that pandemic.
Oh, man, big time. So persevering, man. And one thing I did in all of my roles, I just stayed and endured the process and embraced the process. And most people saying trust the process, and that's true. It's discipline. A lot of people get motivated, but they get motivation and discipline confused. Motivation is what you need to jumpstart. Discipline is what you do when the motivation dies.
Dang.
Every single day.
When you don't want to do it no more, right?
When you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And this is one thing you say I make it look easy. That's because, but here's real talk. I learned it is easy. Things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. If you know every single day you should open up a book and read it, that's easy to do. If you sit down and read, you're like, this is easy. But it's also easy not to do that.
Yeah.
So it lies in decision making.
It's perspective.
Decide to do.
Yep.
And everything you do add up. Wherever you are right now is the sum of what you did in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Where
yeah.
you are today,
Yeah.
add up the last 5 years, you should be here today.
Wow.
You dig what I'm saying?
Wow.
So if you go a little bit harder or do a little bit more, you'll be a little bit further.
Yeah.
Wherever it is you want to become in your life, or wherever it is you want to land or be at in your life.
Yeah.
So, the goal, man, is just to, in the field of education, the key ingredient is respect everyone's role. Because they're in charge of the kids, but you have to put a system in place to ensure that everyone thrives.
So what about in situations where you might not be getting the level of engagement you want from the parent, right? How do you overcome that obstacle?
You got to meet the parents wherever they are. You have to. I mean, here's the
like you said, you can only worry about what you can control.
That's all you can control. But here's the good thing: the key to parent support, or the key to parental support, is communication. I mean, we busy. I'm a parent. I'm busy. I'm working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do love when I go on my timeline, I see my kid doing something good.
Absolutely.
Get on social media. Put education material and information on social media, because every adult, young parents that got kids in the school system, what age are they?
Yeah. Dang.
Think about it.
Yeah.
They all have social media,
Yeah.
whether it's Facebook. We all started on MySpace and Black Planet.
You took it back. Yeah.
That's when we were teens, but now we're parents. We're the parents, right? Are we the parents?
Yeah.
We're the parents. How do you communicate with your job, with people, with entertainment? We're on social media.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Everything can't always be in a newsletter. Put that newsletter, make it accessible on social media, and hit your families on the timeline and communicate with them early and often, whatever the message is that you have and whatever it is that you need. And parents will respond, because that's what they want for their children. If you say, hey, this is going to help your kids, parents will say, cool, let me help my kid.
Yeah.
So the best thing that I've been able to do, is not only, communicate through social media, but also going on tours, meeting our families, going to wherever their neighborhood is, local school, whatever. Hey, I'm here. We got free food. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your kids. Let's talk about support. Let's talk about how we can enhance the student experience to increase academic achievement.
You talk about using social media. That's actually what they do in China, with TikTok and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a good point, man. Wow. So there's a quote that comes to mind by a guy named Thomas Sowell. I've brought him up on previous podcasts. And the quote is that if you want to help somebody, you tell them the truth. If you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. And for me, early on my journey to becoming a success, right? I went to Michigan, got my degree in engineering, went to India for 6 months to prep for a software engineer position in Phoenix.
Yes.
Ended up moving to California, worked at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, at NASA, but I still had ties to people who were still in the hood that I grew up in. And they would give me all these reasons as to why they couldn't make it out the hood. And I wouldn't say anything, right? So in a way, I was being complicit in the reinforcement of their victimhood.
Yeah.
Right. And because I had survivor's remorse. I'm like, I'm the one that made it out. They still there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt them by being brutally honest. And I want to try to make myself feel better by lessening the guilt that I felt.
Yeah.
And over time, I realized, no, that's actually the wrong thing to do, because the highest form of love and compassion is honesty. You be honest with people and you tell them what you did to make it. You give them the game, you give them the blueprint. So I want to thank you because you gave me more ammunition to inspire people who are still in that situation. So if somebody comes up to me, young man, and says, hey, I'm in a single parent household, I'm in the inner city, I'm surrounded by, drugs, violence, crime, the white man is holding me down, the system is holding, whatever the case may be, I'm going to say, listen, you better look at this episode with Dr. Andraé Townsel. Look at this episode. This guy laid out the blueprint in terms of how he overcame his obstacles. And he didn't run from it.
Nah,
you ran to it because it makes you stronger when you overcome it. And then when that next obstacle comes that's even bigger, you can tackle that one, right? You get stronger in the process of facing the things that you fear. Again, man, you're a consummate professional, consummate athlete, consummate family man, consummate educator, consummate leader, consummate a bunch of things. And it's just the beginning for you, bro. So So I appreciate you for giving me that. And then I also would like to know, like, if that person is listening today, if that young guy who's feeling hopeless in his environment, he don't think that he can transcend his circumstances, listening today, what would you tell him?
Hey, I said this. I had an opportunity to speak at a church, actually. At the beginning of the school year, a church invited me out to, do some back to school blessings, gave out backpacks. But I'll tell them plain and simple, where am I looking?
You can look here. Yeah, right here, actually.
Hey, what I tell that person is simple. Get your butt out of the way. Get your butt out of the way. And but, what I'm talking about is your bleak, undermining thinking or the bleak, undermining thoughts. Get them out the way. Yeah, I would have went to college, but... Yeah, I would have graduated from high school, but... Get your butt out the way. We are responsible for ourselves. Like, no one can tell me where I'm going to be in 5 years. I can tell me where I'm going to be in 5 years. Take that button and replace it with an and. I will graduate from high school, and whatever that obstacle is, I will overcome it. Like, you have to face everything head on and remove the undermining thinking that we have about ourselves. And that's natural. That's common to do, but don't be common. Walk away from the common and go into that level, whereas, you have infinite possibilities. Everything that you want or want to obtain in your life is possible to get. Everything is easy, but it's also easy to not do it. You know what I'm saying? It's simple.
Yeah.
But it's also simple to not do it. If you should be, studying your math work, that's easy to pick up the book, do the math work. But it's also easy to not pick up the book, do the math, play. It's two different easies that you have there. So the real cheat code is in making decisions.
Wow.
Make up your mind. If you want to be great, if you want to lose 20 pounds, put the fork down. It's easy to put the fork down, but it's also easy to pick it up.
It's easy to pick it up.
It's the battle of the two easies. You know what I'm saying? So you have to decide what you're going to do. And let me tell you something. They said that the dream is free, but the grind is sold separately.
Wow. Yeah.
We've heard that before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the grind, man, you gotta prepare yourself for that. But I'd rather have temporary pain than a lifetime of regret.
Man, I got so many shirts that me and Andre about to go into business. Me and Dr. Andre.
TinBridge and Draytown.
Man, Draytown, I love it, man. Golly. Okay, so where can people find you on social media?
Yes, indeed. I appreciate that, man. On my Instagram and my Twitter is Draytown, D-R-A-E, at Draytown, D-R-A-E. My Instagram, I just said that, right?
Instagram
my LinkedIn is Dr. Andraé Townsel. Andre has an extra A, A-N-D-R-A-E. Dr. Andraé Townsel on Instagram. That's where you can find me. And all I post is the amazing work that I do with young people.
Wow.
And adults, and how we move the needle on academic achievement. That's all I really care about, man. Is changing the trajectory of a young person's life for the positive.
Wow. Hey, y'all heard where y'all can find them. The words popped up on the screen. I'm going to put the links in the description of the video. You can also catch them on Eric Thomas, right?
Oh, yeah, his podcast,
yeah,
Mass Impact.
The hip hop preacher. I saw your episodes on there too, man. So he got that brother on speed dial. He got to be doing something right. So I could see Dr. Andre's security behind the cameras. They signaling that we got 5 minutes left. We got to get him out of here. No, I'm just kidding. But he gonna have some Secret Service people soon. I guarantee you that, man. So thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you for the opportunity to share, man. Always good seeing you, man. You're doing a great job, man. And happy to be here.
Thank you, man.
Yes, indeed.
Conversations with TinBridge. Peace.